Welcome, this is Tom from screenprintingartist.com. You can view some more tutorials and you can check out my bootcamp, which is available as well on my website, screenprintingartist.com. Under the term 060 Bootcamp, I have bootcamps for Corel, Photoshop, and show some screen printing stuff as well. So let's get started today. We're going to talk about templates, so design templates for screen printing. And I'm going to go ahead and type out a team name. Let's call them the Pirates, and let's make them a baseball team. Baseball. So I'm using the text tool here. Use the pick tool to enlarge it, and then I'm going to use the break apart command, Control K, break it apart so I can individually deal with them. I'm going to pull this up. Now, I'm going to create a design. My goal in creating this design is to create a design that I can swap out to different team names really quickly. So I'm going to show you how CorelDRAW has a little macro in there to do that, which is really useful. This is a quick way to make a design that you could make a lot of other designs out of quickly. So here's the goal here, is to create a font that is pretty easy to use. So there's a lot of different script fonts. I'm just going to use this one. This is kind of a standard script font that you can get. It's pretty friendly. They use it for a lot of team names. It's not perfect because there's some characters that aren't the greatest. Like I'm not that thrilled with the P here, but we'll live through it. We'll just let them make the decision on that. And then baseball, I'm just going to pick another font here. I'll use one that I use a lot, which is kind of bold and thick. And it's a good contrast to this font, right? Which is kind of a design consideration. But now I'm going to go ahead and get this rapidly done as quick as I can and show you. We're going to create a font with a tail on it for this. So if you've never created a tail before, a quick way to do that is just going to use this freehand tool. So you use the freehand tool, and you just click once, and it'll stay as a line right here. And then I can double click. So I click, and then I can make another line, if you see that. So then I click. And I'm just going to do a quick tail, and you might say, well, that one's really squarish, and well, it's not going to stay that way, so trust me there. We'll come down a little bit, and then we'll go to here. So I just kind of spec out a quick tail. It doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to go into the nodes mode and edit it. So once it's finished and you click and you make it complete, a complete shape, go back to your node tool, your shape tool, double click it, automatically selects all the nodes, and then go up here to your property bar and hit convert to curve. So now you've converted all those lines to curves. The advantage of that is now I can go in here and edit this. But to edit it quickly, what I like to do is I'll use a circle. In a circle here, I'm going to start in the middle, and then I'm going to hit the control key to constrain it to a circle, and then the shift key to start from the middle. And then I'll kind of make a reference here. And what this does is this gives me a good guideline to create my shape for this tail, because otherwise, I hit Control D and it wasn't set to the middle. Here, let me change that. So if you hit Control D and your settings up here in the property bar aren't 0, I'm going to set them to 0, it won't go right on top of the other one, and that's what I want. So you got to set those to 0. Then you can come back here and click that shape and hit Control D, and now it's duplicated it, but it's put it on top of it. So now I hold the shift key and enlarge it up, and then I'm going to kind of move it off a little bit. So it's going to look like this, and then I'll squeeze it just a little bit, and then I'll pull it down. So this is kind of like my tail. I'm creating my tail shape. See, I'm kind of bumping it a little bit here, and I'm going to nudge it over. Now I'm going to click this and move it up just a little bit. So this is going to be my shape. So this is my shape coming off and around, if that makes sense. So I'm just moving this till I get it to where I like it. I'm pretty close right now. I might want to go a little skinnier, because what you want when you work with a font and a tail, you want that skinny part of the tail to be the same size as your skinnies on your type, and the thick part of your tail to be maybe a little bit bigger than the big areas in your type, just so it has some drama. So that's what we've got here. I think that looks about right. So I'm going to use that as a guideline, and now what I do is I can kind of take this, since it's converted to curves, I'll zoom in with my zoom tool. Just zoom right in there, and then I go to wireframe mode, and you go Alt V W spacebar. That's the quick key, or view wireframe. I'm going to click here, and then you see how these are dotted. You can kind of grab them, and you just go to try to line them up on this circle here. Now, if I was real aggressive, I might cut that circle and use that, but this is just as good to use this as a guide. So I'm just going to kind of make it guide along that shape. I'm going to try to go as quick as I can here, not take too much time for you guys watching a video here. And you can see how I'm using that to make a nice smooth shape. And it doesn't have to be perfect. And if I have a bump here that I don't really want to deal with, I'll click outside and then I'll click on the other side. Nice little trick there, and then I'll delete the node in the middle, and that smooths it out. And now I'm going to go my second node, set the nodes here. I'm going to go up so it's right there. And move this up as well to like right there. And then realign it to that curve. This I'm going to move down to the curve. I'll move these down so they're touching that curve. And then I can just bump them. Basically, move them so they're in line with that curve. And then I just want to match that up. And you kind of pull them sideways. See how that adjusts the skew of it? That helps too. And if you can't get it perfect, don't worry about it right now. Just get it as close as you can when you're doing this, because you can always edit it later. I'm going to grab it here. For some reason it's not letting me grab it. Why aren't you letting me grab you? Here, let me see what's up. Deal. I'll just use this. I don't know why it wasn't letting me grab it there. Sometimes the program gets quirky and you have to work around. But you can either grab the line like that, which sometimes is easier, or you can use those little levers on the nodes to kind of angle it. See if you push that, but that only does one side, so that's why I like sometimes grabbing the line. It's a little faster. Okay, now see, I kind of married that up, but it's not perfect. See, there's a bump there, so I'm going to click here, click there, and then delete the one in the middle. And that's a nice little quick way to smooth these out if you have bumps, or if it doesn't look perfectly, circular or smooth. You can definitely see there's one there. And I created another one there, and I just delete it. You see how it smooths it right out? It's a real useful kind of trick. And then I don't need my guide anymore, so I can delete that. And now I have a nice smooth, but there's, oh, it's kind of fat here. Oh no, what do? Well, we can just edit it. It's pretty easy. Just zoom out a little bit. Looks like it's a little fat on the end, right? So what we do is just adjust your curve here. Blow this up a little bit and just get rid of this node in the middle, and then here just pull this lever back so it's got a little bit of a sharper turn there, and then even it out. So just click here, get rid of these. Whoops, too many. Got rid of too many. Sometimes you do that. There. And then this one needs to be a little bit more of a fitted curve going to there, so we can adjust it two different ways. I can click here and then click here and then get rid of these, and then just pull this node up like that. You see that? Pull that up and then pull this one out just a little bit, and then this whole tail can kind of come down, and you see how that makes it a little bit more like a racetrack coming out of there and a little more appealing, right? Now you may think that, oh well, maybe this is too wide of a tail. So what you can do, if it's too wide, just grab all your nodes here and then go up to the property bar, and you're going to hit this stretch or scale nodes command. So click that, and then it gives me this marquee, these 4 marquees, and you just grab those and you compress them, and you just keep going. You see how it's kind of making it more narrow that way, and then I just drag them out again and put them on off. And now this is a sharper tail. See, it was wider, it was going out, looping out more, maybe too much, and now this one is a little narrower. So that way you can kind of quickly make a tail and adjust it. Now I don't like the point down here, and the reason why is that point might hang out if the font isn't perfect. So I'm going to adjust that and make sure that my point is rounded, more like a nose or something. And that way you won't have that point maybe sticking out at the bottom if the characters change. And that's something you got to worry about with when you're doing templates. Okay. And so now next, let's go ahead and finish this up. We got the tail working pretty good here. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to save my file. I already got it as Pirates, but I'll save it anyway. So I hit Control S, save it. I'm going to go back to the enhanced mode. I can fill this tail now. I'm going to fill it. I'm going to give it just a tiny bit more character by clicking here, dragging this out, and then kind of making the end sharp like that. So give the tail just a little bit more sharpness to it. And then this font, what I'm going to do, I'll save it again, Control S. This font, I'm actually going to make the P a little bit larger, but just the P, and then kind of and just swoop it a little bit, and I'm going to apply an envelope. Now it's important when you're doing templates to actually use the envelope command, and I'll kind of specify that. And I'm going to use the envelope command on unconstrained mode. So click there. That way I can modify just the nodes that I want to, and you'll see how that works. I'm going to modify just this node here. I'm going to swoop that up. So see how I kind of made the P bigger, and I didn't affect the other letters. So, and by applying an envelope to this font, it also locks it to this size. So if I change this font, it's going to go back in to exactly this size. And I could even go just a tiny bit bigger, but I don't want to make it too weird. But you can see how it kind of matches up then with my tail a little bit, which is kind of nice. So we're going to take that, and then I'm just going to skew it just a tiny bit this way. And then I'm going to back it away and leave it right about here and make sure the tail is fully into the type right there. And then I'm going to save the font, or save the file, Control S. So once that's done, I'm going to actually make a second version of this now, because sometimes you're going to have a team name that's going to come in and have what's called a descender that'll come off of this font, right? So I'm going to actually take this, I'm going to drag it down, let go of it. I'm going to Control C, and that copies it to the clipboard. And then I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to go Control Z, which undoes all the things I've done. Control Z, and then I'll undo it a bunch of times to get back to where the regular font is here. So, and then I can Control V and paste the one that I had on the clipboard down here. So this is the modified one with the envelope. This is the non-modified one. And now I can edit this font and just like, I can either double click it, or I can hit Control Shift T to go into edit text mode. And I'm going to put a font in here like, let's say Jaguars. So if we say Jaguars, I don't want to go too long too either. That's the thing where I want to upper and lower case though. So I want the one with the font hanging down. So let's say we'll just do Jaguars. Jaguars. It's a little long to start with a template, but it'll work. So I'm going to say OK. So it's a little long, but I'm going to actually shrink it just a touch and then compress it a touch and put it in here. Now you see how that G, I'm going to put a light pen line on it, and I'm going to go Shift Page Up. So you can see how that G is kind of cutting over my tail. That's okay. We could move the tail down so it's not hitting this. That would be one solution. So we can still put our type font in there. So if we're going to do that, then we're going to actually want a separate tail for this descender. In this case, I think I'm going to leave it the way it is. I'm just going to make sure that on my template I allow for the possibility that this will overlap this, and I'll show you how to set that up. So the first step there, looking at your descender, I'm going to actually leave this so it extends over this font, kind of like that. And what we're going to do is I'm going to take this off now, and then I'm going to apply the same sort of envelope here, and I'm just going to just a little bit on that first character in unconstrained mode, just stretch that first character down. And this makes use of both cases if the whoops, went off on the wrong one, if the first letter has a descender on it as well, which sometimes it will. Oh, we're on the wrong mode. See, we're on double arc mode. We want to be on unconstrained mode. So I click that, change the mode of my phone. That way I can do this and kind of leave it like that, and then actually level out the rest of this, because I don't want the rest of this to be off square. So then that leaves it nice and square, and then it still stretches it here. But the main thing is it still locks this to this script mode here. So what we're going to do now, and you're going to see that the important thing here now to deal with this is to actually have a piece that floats on top with your text. So you'll need an extra piece. So what I do is I hit Control D and then I cut it. So to cut it, I'm going to actually take it like right about here. This may seem complicated because I'm working ahead of what you're actually going to see. But so I make a shape, and then I hold the Shift key, click this next shape, and then I trim it. trim. So that has left me with a piece here. If I change the color, you see that piece is just like that. So it's a separate piece of the tail that's sitting on top. All right, and you'll see why that is done at the end. Now, we're pretty much ready to do both of these. So I have two separate versions of this file. So this version, and then I have this version right here. So what I can do is I can take this tail right here, I can drag it down and right click. Let me get my baseball out of the way here. Let me bump it up. Right? So then I have both of these working for me. One has a descender and one has an ascender. You know, they're going above. The descender is this part of the font right here. Okay, so what we're looking at now is finishing up this file. So we have one where there's no descenders in the body of the copy, and then we have one where there is a descender in the body of the copy. That's useful because you never know what your team name is going to be, and if you anticipate wrong, then you have a bunch of editing to do. This way you're covered. You should be covered in either case. So, and then we got the word baseball here. We can finish it up. Now, so rapidly kind of finish this design, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a background on here just so that we can see what it'll look like. And I usually use a middle gray color, so I just filled it with gray. Hold the shift page down, put it behind there. I'm going to save the file again, Control S. I'll right click, get the outline off of this, and then I'm going to come in here, zoom in a little bit closer, and I'm going to now I'm going to skew these both at the same time. I'll get baseball out of the way because I want them to be at the same, roughly the same angle, so they match up. So I grab them both, drag them down to the middle. I'm going to click again, so I go into the rotate or skew mode, and then I angle them up slightly like that. Angle them down like that, and that works well for a print with an accent. And you'll see what accent we're going to add in a minute. I'm going to drag this one down just a little bit here, there, and then again save the file. Anytime you edit a font, it's a good idea to save the file. Now I'm going to show you how to put outlines on this. So we're going to use essentially these are going to be white filled text. The tail will be white as well, but you'll see how this works. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to use a darker initial outline. So my initial outline will be like a gray, and then I'll use a fat outline behind it. So I'm going to take my initial outline here. I'm going to use a gray, but it's going to be a little darker than my background. So I'm going to use like a 4-point there. And I'm going to say, for this one, I'll say behind fill. I'll say, okay, let's go. See, that's a little darker. Let me go a little fatter because that was 4. Let's go up to 8. There we go. So 8. So that cuts out of the tail. You can see it cuts out of the tail pretty deep here, which is okay. But and now you're going to see where that little piece comes in, because I'm going to make this white now. Make that white. And then I'm going to right click and drag down, and I'm going to say copy outline here, so that copies it. See that whole tail now? And I'm going to take this piece, I'm going to make it white, and I'm going to go no outline, and then I'm going to go shift page up. And you see how that makes it so there's no, that's why we got that piece there, because otherwise we'd have a line. And that overlaps your line right there. And it still leaves this out, if that makes sense. And then what you can do is you can grab this whole thing right here, and you can group it, right? And then you can Control D, duplicate it. You can shift page down, and I like to put an even bigger outline on it now. Like, let's go the secondary outline. That's like, I don't know. Let's go with a 12 and make it black. Say okay. And we can't see it because this is above it, right? So we did that. Let me see if I got it here. Grab it. Yes. So I clicked on it, made sure I got a hold of it. Shift page up to check. And then I'm going to Control D, duplicate it, and then using the nudge tools, move it off. Kind of give you that edge look to it, which makes it pop out from the shirt, which is kind of a cool look. So now we're pretty much set up for that one. And now we do the same thing below here. So we can drag this with it grouped even, right click, drag it down, and just say copy outline here. And then right click, copy outline here. And then this, shift page up. And then this piece, shift page up. And then hold the shift key, select them both, make them white. And then of course this has to have no outline, so there's no lines. I'm going to save my file, Control S, grab both of them, and then I'm going to group them, Control D, duplicate them, and then I'm going to go here and click, and I think we had black. Sometimes my memory fades out a little bit. Black, and I think it was 12. Let's go ahead and try that, say OK, and then shift page down. And then grab this, page down, oops, page down, thank you, and then click here, there, Control D, got the wrong one, got to grab the black one behind it. Sometimes you got to zoom in. I got it. You can see down here, it'll say you have that one, so Control D, and then go nudge it up, and then nudge it over. Now, some people, I'm going to actually fill it with black too in case some of that black fill shows. Some people might say, I don't like this little cut there on the tail if it's too sharp. You see that? Some people don't like that. I totally get it. I understand that kind of throws people off. Sometimes CorelDRAW has that issue right there. One thing you can do that makes it better is to click here without doing a lot of editing, going in and editing the actual pieces. You can click here, go down to the outline, double click your outline here, and change your style. Like you can round the corners. A lot of times that'll help me say okay, and see how it makes it round there. Sometimes that's more appealing for people. So I'm gonna try and see if I can get the background here. Sometimes I can. If you can't, I can't click it here. I'm zooming in, but I for some reason isn't grabbing it. Okay, so I'm gonna go to wireframe mode. Alt V W. Wait, Alt V W space. There we go. I'm going to grab this one. I'm going to click this one, and I'm going to round the corners on that. I'm going to say OK. And then I still need the one that's underneath here probably. So let's look at that. Yeah, so that'll need to go around. So what I need to do there is just click here. Bump it down twice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then click the one that's underneath. See if I can get it here. See if I got it. Nope, that one is the rounded one. So this one actually, well, what you can do is this one's actually above the other one. So shift page down, control, let's see. Oh, it's probably grouped. That's why. Let me ungroup it. Control page down. There we go. Now I can just right click, drag, and drop the copy outline here. And now they're all rounded, see? And then I can click this and go up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That should be good. And now what we've done is basically rounded those corners on that tail, see? And we can do the same thing here to fix that. One fast way to do it is just ungroup everything. Let me select everything here. Ungroup, ungroup, ungroup. Whoops. Control, I just hit Control U a bunch of times and hit an extra key by accident. Let's just go ahead and get rid of these. We'll just delete, 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 delete. There, and then we'll just grab the tail from the top one and drag it down to the bottom. So just ungroup this a couple times. Let's select everything and then hold the shift key, deselect everything. Got our tail, drag it down, get it right about there, right click. You see that we just have to bump it down a little bit more so it's lined up. We'll go shift page down, this page down, and then all I have to do is bump these in order with this. Let me just move this one all the way up to the front. Shift page up, but we need both of them to go up 1 or 2. So because otherwise you'll see a black line there. Shift and hit Control page up 1, and then this one shift page up 2. a little faster maybe than going in and editing that one again on this one. So let's save them. Control S to save. Last part of this, we're going to make a little effect to put into this type. We're going to do that, and then we're going to add a little effect at the bottom, and we're all done. And then I'll show you how the template works. So let's wrap that up. Let me move this up a little bit. I'm nudging it up. The nudge tool. I'll nudge this one up too, just so we got room. Now we're going to create that. We're going to create that font right here. Okay, so to make this shape, what we're going to do is we're going to make a block here. And I'm going to fill it with red. Right click, and then I'm going to make a smaller piece. So I'm going to take this block and drag it down holding the shift key. Okay, I'm going to make this little shape, and then I'm going to duplicate it by just dragging it, right clicking, and I'm going to make like a chunk of it here, and I'll make it, not even a fifth the size of it. And then what I'll do is I'm holding the shift key so they stay aligned. I'm going to click it and drag it up, right click, drag it down again, and then I'm going to make just a tiny little thin slice here, like that, right? And what I want to do now is I'm going to blend them just real quick to complete the effect. So I'm going to make this even just a tiny bit thinner. You don't want to have it so thin that you won't be able to burn it on the screen when you screen print it. But here, and then I'm going to get the blend effects out. I'm going to click here and click there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up here and hit the acceleration. So object color acceleration for the blend. I'm going to hit object this the other way. So we're going to go this way. And you can kind of see how they're kind of blending here. Now I don't need 20. I need like 6. So, or maybe 5 or 6. Probably 6 will work. Hit enter, maybe 7. There, and then I can hit acceleration. And what I probably need to do here is stretch these out a little bit. So I'm going to take the bottom of this and just move it down so you can see. That's about the blend that I want. That kind of where this is about as big as that one, and it kind of goes. And you can adjust that by dragging this down a little more or pulling it up, to get the feel for if that's about the right size of what you want. And then I can take this bottom one and I'll bring it up just so that it's big and solid at the bottom. And then I take this and I'm just going to break that apart. I'm going to ungroup or Control K just so that it's no longer a blend group, because I don't want to skew a blend group because it might cause me some problems. So I'm going to stretch it nice and wide here, and I'll probably shrink it just a little bit, right? Just so it's a little bit, so it looks like it fits with the type there. I'll shrink it a little more and go a little longer, and then I'll click that bottom one and drag that down just so it's nice and bold. I want it to be a lot bigger than my font, just so that if I have to edit the font, it's not going to cause me any issues, right? On this, I'll move this up, just make sure. I may want a little more white in that bottom slice. See how that's real thin right there? I may want just a little more there. So to get that, I can just kind of go hold the control key and nudge it down 1 or 2. Just 1 is probably good. Then we go here. We've got everything. Group it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to power clip it. I'm going to power clip it into this. I want to make sure it's longer than my font by a pretty good margin. I'm going to compress this just a little bit because I want most of the effect to be just right here. So I don't want a bigger length to the effect or height to the effect than it is tall on the type. So stretch it here. And then I just need to check the angle of it. So I'm going to take it here. I'm just going to go, I'll go Effects, Power Clip, and we're going to place inside frame, and we're going to go ahead and go inside the white frame. And you can see how it's fitting in there now. And then now I hold the control key and I'm going to go into the power clip. So I clip it. And so now I can take this, I can move it over, and you can see how it's putting the pirates on top. So it lets me kind of, and then I'm going to skew this. So it lets me kind of manage it. I'm going to skew this so that it's even with the angle of my font. So the majority of the effect I want to be seen in all the fonts, right? So I'm going to click so I can see the top slice of that in the S, and it comes all the way across near the top of the I. So I want the angle to be right. It may not be perfect on the first letter because that one's bigger, but The rest of these I want to at least have some of the effect in the type, and I want the bottom to be solid. So that looks pretty good right there. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to copy it before I go out of the power clip, and then I click off here. And now the rest of this can just be red and red, right? So that can just be red as far as a tail. Now, if you wanted to continue the power clip to this part of your tail, it's pretty easy to do. All you have to do is click here, since we made it nice and long. Click here, click here, and then just go Effect. And then I believe you can just right click. Let's see. I think we can click under Effects, Copy Effect, Clone Effect. One of these works for grabbing. Well, let's just do it this way. We'll go click, drag over here. There used to be, the old version of Corel, they had a copy power clip from. So let me see if that is in here. I don't think a copy effect has it. Power clip. Copy power clip from. There it is. I was just looking for the command. Sorry about that. It's under power clip, so copy power clip from. So you click that, and then you just click on your previous power clip. And it's basically thrown the power clip inside of here. So if I click there, you see how the power clip is inside. Now, since I turned it red, you don't see it. So I got to click out here, and I got to turn it white again. So when I turn it white, now it matches. You see, and there's a little line there, so we got to make sure that that isn't actually going to show. If you zoom way in, there probably isn't actually a line there. Nope, see, there isn't. So that shouldn't show. If you had an issue with that, or if you were worried that there was going to be a tiny little line that was going to show, you could create a little red shape. You could duplicate this red and just stretch it over that, just to make sure, just to be safe, but that gives you that idea. Now, this baseball, we're going to pop the baseball in there, like this, stretch it down, make that white, shift page up, and then we're going to go in here. Again, we're going to use, if we want to use this for other than baseball, maybe we want to use softball or something like that, we want to be able to edit that font as well. So we're going to use, and we're going to be able to use, no, hold on a second. Dog is getting crazy here. Let's stretch it out, and then we'll use, here we go. We'll use this with the lines. Hold the control key so it grabs both of these nodes and drags it up. And then what you can do is, if you hold the shift key, it'll stretch them both out. You see how it stretches the bottom and the top at the same time? And this will stretch it in. So it kind of goes with that edge of the font. And now, a nice thing with that, we leave it as text as well. Hit Shift S, save it. Just on the outside chance I do have a problem with this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in real close. I don't think you're going to see a line there, but I don't like the fact that you can see it, just a little tiny line. So I'm just going to make just a little tiny, just double click, double click, double click, and click. I'm just going to fill it with red and then not worry about it, and then right click. And then now I've just covered it up just so there's no chance in my final file that I'll have a problem there. I'm going to save it right like that. Okay, now to match this up, what I'm going to do essentially is I can match up this exactly with the Jaguars there. Do everything the same. All I do is just drag this over. Make sure I'm selected on that. I'm going to say Effects, Power Clip, and then Copy Power Clip from. I'm going to go here and click it. Right? Now, it may not line up exactly right. It's just doing a best guess. So I'm going to click and then click in again. And then I just need to bump that down. Because again, I want majority of the effect to be in the font. Right? So I want it to be in there. With the bottoms kind of nice and red. And then I'm going to copy this just in case I need to use it again. Click right here. And then I take this, drag it over. I say copy, click here, Effect, Power Clip, Copy Power Clip from, and then go there. And then that puts the power clip in there. Then I click here for this, and just say red. And then I have that little thing right there, so I can click here on my little piece. Whoops. Let me find my little piece here. There we go. Drag that up, and then right click. Pop that on top. Let me make sure it's lined up. So I'll zoom in, line it up. Looks like I gotta move it just a tiny bit here. There we go. And then there, and save it. Now, baseball might need to be adjusted for this top font, depending. Some people are okay with it, going over it. Some people want it underneath. You could shift page down, and go, I just keep shifting in page down until you're behind it. Some people might find that cool. They might like it. Other people might want baseball to start behind the ascender, so you might have to bump that or adjust it. For now, I think it actually kind of looks cool with it covered up, but everybody has a different opinion on that. So I'm sure they will not be shy with their opinion, so you can ask them about that, if they like that or if they'd want to see baseball. And again, if you're designing this template, you could make it so that the tail goes outside of possible descenders, but essentially, that would be make it, you'd have a lot more space underneath. So that is how you get this started. Last part to finish up this design is we're just going to put a little graphic behind it. I'm going to show you how that works. I'm going to go ahead and let's go ahead and open that real quick. Just pull this up. I've got this baseball here. I'm just going to copy it. I'm just going to pop that in here. That may have been like, that would be a good example if you had a clip art or you had something like that. In this case, we just want to use it as a backdrop, so we're just going to use this piece. I'm just going to combine it. So I just hit Control L, combined all the pieces so that it's just an outline, and I'll put a dark fill on it because I want it to just be like an accent. And then I'm just going to real quick make another circle. I'm going to hit Shift and then Control, so it goes in the middle, and then I'll hold the Shift key, select that, and then I'll hit C and E, so it centers vertical and horizontal. And then let's just go ahead and bring this down a little bit right there, and then I'm going to change the outline to, let's change it to 8. I think we used 80% there. Might be a little big, so let's go ahead and drop it. Let's cut it in half to 4. And then I'm going to duplicate this, Control D, and drag it out just a little bigger. So use it about that big. And then I'm going to use the star here, make sure it's 5, right around 50. I'm going to make a little star here, fill that with 80 as well. And I'll right click, take the outline off, and then I'll just drag it over and duplicate it. And then these two will go down in here in the middle like that, and then I'll make a font real quick here and just put let's just type something out to put in there. This could be town or some sort of championship or whatever. It could be a modifier type that goes in here. I could use the same font again just to keep it simple, and go ahead and fill it with the same color. I think that's the same color. Let's look here. 80, and what is this? Yep, okay. And then I'm going to combine it to curve. Whenever I do that, I always save the file first. Text, you're going to fit text to path, and I'll just go right here. Click, and then you got to mirror it twice so that it flips the other way. And then you click the text and you drag it down. And if it's not working for you, see how it's kind of going up and down? That usually means you got to zoom in. So you zoom in a little bit, and then you can modify it a little. When you're closer, it'll let you do a finer adjustment here. And then I'm going to use the shape tool to stretch it out like that. And then if you hold the Shift key, it'll stretch out the space between the words. So that's just for hold the Shift key to just stretch that out. I'm going to go a little more, just so it stretches it out. I'm going to grab all this. Grab all the nodes, and I can drag it without adjusting where it's at. See, when you grab all the nodes, it leaves it exactly where it's at on the line and keeps all the spacing the same, but allows you to move it where you want it to go on your curve. It's like that, and it looks just a little bit closer to the bottom than it is to the top. Since I'm a nitpicky guy, I'll adjust that a little bit just so it's pretty even top to bottom. That's pretty close. I'm going to go ahead and leave it. Now I may decide to convert that to curves if it's going to be the same on all the designs. In this case, I'm going to leave it as live text. I'm going to group it. I'm going to go ahead and arc it just a little bit so those stars line up with the angle on the bottom of my backdrop here. I'll drag it over. I'm going to enlarge it just a little bit. there. And then I'll just drop it behind here. I'll hold the shift key, click the bottom, and then I'll drop it behind. You see how that kind of creates a nice little accent for the side of my name here. And of course, since we grouped it, we can just drag it right down, pop it roughly the same location on the one on the bottom. So I click the background, shift page down, save my file, and now you can see what's cool about designing this way with the envelope and with this. If I want to change this font now, I want to change the team name or the font, I just hit edit, replace text. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to find the Pirates. So I just put here, let me change the case here, Pirates, and then we'll put in another team name like Warriors, and I just hit replace all, and look what happens. Boom, I instantly get a new team name there, just like that. So that's a really fast way of changing a layout. And then all you would have to change is this red color, and I can use this handy macro that I got from Oberon.com, which is really useful. You just take the red in the design, so click the red, and then you change that, say the Warriors were blue, and then you just say all on the current page, or just a selection. In this case, I don't want to do the top design. I'm going to leave that red. I'm going to change Warriors, just Warriors, so I leave that selected. I'm going to change all the red to blue in that selection. Say OK, and there, now you have a brand new design that quick, which is really nice. And then if you have a lowercase swoop right here, you're gonna use this design, and in that case, so I'm gonna go ahead and go back twice there, and you may notice that the W is hidden a little bit here. I could always go in and tweak that real fast if I needed to. Sometimes that sort of thing will happen as well, and you just have to adjust this a little bit or pull this back a tiny bit for your template, but you know, stuff like that isn't that big of a deal. Some people wouldn't even care about that either. So, so I saved the file again, and then I'm going to do the same thing with the lowercase, because I'm going to have one replace object. So, wait, wrong one. Edit, replace text, and then this time I'm going to replace. I'll move it down just so I don't misspell it. Right, do a capital J here. You have Jaguars. We'll replace that with Trojans. Replace all. Now if it's shorter than this, you might notice that it doesn't fit all the way. So what you need to look here is see how it isn't fitting the whole distance. Sometimes that'll happen with your files. And what you do here, it's a pretty simple fix. So what you can do here, if you have a shorter word and the original one you've typed is longer, what you can do is just click on your file. If it's live text, it'll say 100. It'll say 185 here. Let's just put it up to 200. You'll see how that does. And say OK. And see how that extends it the full length of the envelope. Then I just click the same one down here, and I go to 200. Hit enter, and then I click the next one in line, and I go to 200. So you just have to increase the point size, and then it fills up the envelope, and that solves your problem. And then that's that, and then you can select it here, and then again red and blue, hit selection, say OK, and it changes it that quick. And so that's the important part for making a template like this, where if you laid it all out on a team page, you could really rapidly make all these changes to your design. And as you can see, it's super fast to do it. Then once this is set up, you can save this design, put it into a catalog, and just swap these out. Really lightning fast for customers, and have really cool looking designs, but that are complete templates that you can swap out quickly. So hopefully this helps you out. And as always, head on to screenprintingartist.com and let me know what you think.